Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just open up the file that downloads and it'll automatically import into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the drawing today. I'll go ahead and put all of the canvas specifications, the dimensions, the color profile, and the amount of layers that we will need on the screen and in the description below. So take a minute to get everything set up and then come back and we will get started. So we are just going to go ahead and get started. The first thing that we will do is fill in the background color. So let's go to our layer menu, find the background color layer, and click the first color on our color palette to fill it in with that color. Next, we will be on layer 1 here. We are going to work on this layer. We're going to add a nice texture to our background. So we are going to click on the N on this layer and drag it up to multiply. On our color palette, we will again be on the first color on the first row. Go to our brushes menu and under the charcoals category, find the to be compressed charcoal. Let's set that to 50%. And I'm just going to lightly drag this all over my background to create a nice layer of this texture. And with it set to multiply, even though it's the same color, it adds a darker shade to it. Like so. Okay, now we are going to go to our color palette, grab the second color on the top row, go to our layer menu, add a new layer above this one, and we're going to make a grid pattern to look like tiles in the background behind our pool. So let's go to our brush menu and under the textures category, we will find this grid brush. And then I have it set to 100%, and I am just going to make this all over my canvas without picking my brush up and pushing down pretty hard the whole way to make a nice complete pattern, like so. However, this is way too small of a pattern. I want them to be much larger, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit, click the arrow tool, set it to uniform, and now I'm going to increase the size of this grid layer quite a bit. And now it's a little too far out on my canvas to increase it anymore, so I'm just going to click the arrow tool to deselect it, click it again, and now it kind of resets it at this new size that we have. So I'm going to continue to increase it a couple times, maybe until about here, and then I'm just going to kind of line it up until I have, roughly the same amount all the way around on my edges here. So I have like a little bit of a half tile showing on each side, and then I have 6 full tiles in the middle, so that's the size I'm going to go with. You can do whatever you would like, however you want it to look. It does not really matter the difference in size. So now your picture should look something like this. We'll zoom back in, and I am going to go to my layer menu, make a duplicate of this grid layer, the one that pops up on the bottom, click it and turn on alpha lock, grab the third color on the top row of our color palette, go back to our layer menu, this one on the bottom here that we turned alpha lock on for, click on it and click fill layer. So you should see it fill in with a gray color. You can't see it on your canvas because of the one on top of it. But then we are going to click on the N on this layer and drag it to overlay. Click it again, the layer, and turn off alpha lock now. Click the wand icon, Gaussian Blur, drag this up to just like 5%. Click the arrow tool and drag it down and to the left a little bit so we see a nice highlight on each corner of our tiles, like so. And then on this same layer with the same color, we are going to grab a brush. We are going to, under the airbrushing category, grab the soft airbrush set the size to maybe 10%. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to the top of my canvas where this layer that I'm on, I moved it down and to the left. And so now this top part has a little gap where we moved it. So I'm just going to kind of fill that in with the brush very lightly to make it go off the screen. Doesn't have to be too precise by any means. And then it'll be the same thing on the right side. So whichever way you moved it, just make sure to fill in the gaps there on this layer. And then I'm going to increase my brush size to maybe 20%. And I'm just going to go through and kind of add some distinction on my tiles. So I'll just kind of add some like rounded corners or some new highlights just on some tiles here and there to add a little variation to make them look a little bit more real. So I'm pushing down very, very lightly, but just kind of going around like so. So some of them will be on the same side that it's already highlighted on. Otherwise, sometimes I might pick the opposite side. Typically I'll do a corner, but you can also just do some like side highlights like this. And it doesn't even have to be on every single one, but just some of them. So it will end up looking something kind of like this. Okay, now we're going to add our pool. So let's go to our layer menu, add a new layer above all of our layers. Grab the first color on the second row, and we are going to grab our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. I'm going to have it set at 100%, and I'm just going to draw a perfect circle. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Go ahead and let it go, and then click Edit Shape to kind of move it around, and then you can resize it if you need to. I'm probably going to put mine about in the center and leave at least like, 1.5 tiles on the sides, like so. But then we'll click the arrow tool, and we are going to make sure that snapping is turned on in the bottom left, and I am going to snap it to the center of the screen where I see both yellow lines pop up. Then we'll go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this circle layer by sliding left and hitting duplicate. Just keep the top one selected, click the arrow tool on uniform and downsize it a little bit, and then drag it to the center again where we see both yellow lines. This is going to be the ring for the edge of our pool, so make it as thick as you would like it. I'm going to have mine about here. And then I'll go to my layer menu. I will snap these two layers together with my fingers so they're all on one layer. And then I will drag and drop my color in between them to fill in the rest of the circle there. Then I will go to my layer menu. I will click on this layer, the circle one, and set it to reference. Add a new layer, drag it below our circle layer that we have already. Find the second color on the second row of our color palette and drag and drop it into the center of the circle, and it will only fill in the center since we have this one set to reference. Go back to our layer menu, click on this top layer here that's on reference and turn reference off now. We don't need that anymore. On this new filled in circle layer that we have here, select that one. And now to get a nice water texture, we are going to click the wand icon. We're going to click noise. Slide this up to maybe 25%. And then to make it look like water, we're going to mess with some of these settings down here. So let's first switch it to ridges. And then we're going to increase the scale quite a bit, and that's going to give us a nice water texture. So I have mine to maybe 75%. And then I'm also going to slide the octaves up a couple, which increases just the variety of colors. So I'm going to have mine set to maybe 33. And then I might turn my turbulence down a little bit to maybe 20 to maybe 30. Leave it on single if it is on single or not, and then leave additive turned on. So your settings should look something like this, and this gives us a nice water texture in the background. And then you can continue to slide on the top here to increase the noise levels. So mine was at 25%, and I even feel like that might be a little bit too high. I might drop it down to 20, 15 to 20, somewhere in there, so it's not so stark of a pattern. It's a little more subtle. So kind of mess around with it and find something that you like, and then I will just go ahead and click the wand icon to turn that off. Now let's add a shadow around our pool and inside our pool. So we want a shadow inside coming off of this wall onto our water, and we also want a shadow outside of where it would hit on the tiles. So let's go to our layer menu. We are going to add a new layer in between our two circle layers here, so the edge of the pool and the water part. We're going to grab the third color on the top row, the gray. And with our monoline brush, we are going to again make a circle on the inside, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, increase the size a little bit, click edit shape and just drag it around and change the size. So this is going to be for our inner shadow. So I'm going to have it almost touching the ring of my pool. Click the arrow tool and center it perfectly on your two yellow lines. And then I am going to add a new layer on my layer menu and do the same thing on the outside, maybe a little bit further out from the edge of the pool. So make it a perfect circle, and then again click edit shape to kind of move it around and resize it. So I might have mine be about this far out from the edge. And then I will click the arrow tool and again center it. And then again go to my layer menu, drag these two gray circle layers together. Fill in the middle. And then on my layer menu, I am going to find this layer and on the N, open that up and drag it up to multiply. Then I'm going to click the wand icon, Gaussian Blur, and drag this to maybe 10% to create a nice shadow there. If you don't like how dark your shadow is, you can go to your layer menu, click the M on this layer to open up the menu, and you can lower your opacity a little if you would like. I'm going to have mine maybe at about 80%, just a little bit less than it was before. Now that we have our pool set up, I am going to make some little water splashes around on our tile. So let's go ahead and add a new layer above our last grid layer here below our circle pool layers. And I'm going to grab the second color on the second row, same monoline brush at 100%, and I'm just going to make some random little kind of blobs of water and fill them in. Smooth them out as you go if you need to where they connect. It's not always the best connection. Maybe this one I'll have coming off the screen. And then to make them look a little bit more watery, I am just going to go to my layer. On my layer menu, click the N on this to open up the menu and drag the opacity down to maybe 50 to 60%, somewhere in there, to make them look like they're kind of melted into our tile. Okay, and now we have arrived at the main event. We are going to make our pool floaty and our panda. So let's go ahead and add a new layer above all of our layers. Grab the third color on the second row, same monoline brush at 100%, and the first thing that we are going to do is set up symmetry. So we are going to go to the gear icon, click to turn on the drawing guide, click edit drawing guide, click symmetry, and we are actually going to switch it under options here to quadrant symmetry, and then go ahead and click done. And then on our layer menu, make sure that this layer that we're on here says assisted. If it does not, click on it and turn on drawing assist. But this third color again on the second row, same monoline brush at 100%, and we are going to make a pool floaty that's kind of rectangular with rounded edges, and it is going to be like longer this way than it is this way, so I'm going to go up a good amount on my middle vertical line here and over a little bit less. So right about in here, and I'm just going to make a circular shape. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. About this size to make our nice rounded edges, and then I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in. Then I'm going to make a line on the right side here, so starting right on the right edge of this circle, I'm going to make a straight line going down, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical. If you need to, you can click edit shape and drag it around. So mine was kind of off of my circle a little bit, but that looks much better. And then we will do the same thing across the top. So starting here, drag it across, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. And then again, click edit shape and adjust it if you need to line it up better. And then I am going to drag and fill it in. Fill in any other gaps that there might be. And that is our pool floaty. I think I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger, so I'm going to grab my arrow tool on uniform, drag the size up just a little bit, and then recenter it like so. Okay, on this same layer, I'm going to grab the fourth color on the second row, same monoline brush. Let's drop the size to maybe 50%, and we are going to make the ridges in the pool floaty. So I'm first going to start off of the center vertical line here over a little bit, just right below the top of my pool floaty here, about here. I'm going to draw a straight line all the way down, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical, and then let it go. And we're going to go over an even amount of space that's between these two, so maybe about right here, starting about at the same spot, and then draw down again, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, and let it go. So those are our little ridges in the pool floaty. And then I'm going to grab the fifth color on the second row of the color palette, same monoline brush at 50%, but now I'm going to go to my layer and click on it and turn off drawing assist so that it is not using symmetry anymore. And I'm just going to go through and make a few little like highlights on my pool floaty. I'm not holding my pen down or anything, just gonna kind of add some little highlights here and there. Following the corners as I do them. Something just like this, nothing too crazy. We are going to cover up a good amount of our floaty with our panda, but I just wanted to add a little bit of something to it. So that being said, we are going to move on to our panda now. So we are going to add a new layer above all of our layers so far. Grab the first color on the last row of our color palette, same monoline brush at about 50%. And the first thing that I'm going to do is draw the head of the panda. It's going to be almost a circle shape, but not quite. So hold it down. Don't touch your finger to the screen, but hold it down so it snaps into kind of an oval. And then I'm going to click Edit Shape. And essentially, I just want it to be mostly rounded, but like slightly flatter from top to bottom. And then to make sure it's nice and like straight and not crooked, the best thing that I can say to do is to line up these two dots, the top and bottom dots on this symmetry line that we have showing, and then go ahead and fill it in. Then we're going to go and add another new layer, drag it below our head layer, and click on it and turn on Drawing Assist. So we will use Symmetry this time. Same whitish color, same monoline brush, but we are going to switch our symmetry to just be vertical. So go back to the gear icon, click Edit Drawing Guide. Under Options, click Vertical, and then click Done. And I am going to draw the ears, and they are going to be a perfect circle. So right behind the head on the right side here, I'm going to draw a circular shape. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen until you like about their size. I'm going to click Edit Shape and drag them out just a little bit so I can see more of them. Place them where you would like, and then go ahead and fill them in. Go to the layer menu, add a new layer above this one, click on it, turn on Drawing Assist, grab the second color on the last row, same monoline brush, and we're going to draw the insides of the ears now. So same thing, a circular shape, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, click Edit Shape and adjust them till you like where they're at. Leave a nice amount of the white showing around it, and then go ahead and fill those in. Now we're going to draw the body. So go to our layer menu, add a new layer, click on this layer, turn on Drawing Assist. Same dark color, second one on the last row, same monoline brush. And the first thing that we are going to do is start on the side of my panda here. And I'm going to start right about here where like his neck would be. Draw it down and around like this, hold it down. And this is going to be his legs and body. So I held it down. You can click Edit Shape if you need to make any adjustments. I might make it a little bit thinner at the top here. Shouldn't be sticking out so far. Something about like this. And then grab our pen tool again. I am going to make a kind of curved line here to meet in the middle. Hold it down. And then I'm going to just kind of make a line behind his head. You can't really see it, but make sure it connects so that we can fill this in. Then from here, I'm going to start a little bit down on his neck, and I'm going to draw out and back in a curved motion. Hold it down. Click Edit Shape if you need to make any adjustments. I might make them just a little bit less like straight out, but I do want them to be nice and pointy like this. It's really not that bad of a shape to start with. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill them in. Now I want his body to be a little bit bigger compared to his head, so I'm going to grab my arrow tool on the body shape, set it to uniform, and make it just a little bit bigger, and then recenter it under his head, maybe about right there. Okay. Then I am going to go to my layer menu on this body layer here, click on it, and turn on Alpha Lock. Grab the white color, the first one on the last row, same monoline brush, and now we're going to draw his belly. So I am going to start right about in the middle of his arm on the left side here. Draw a line going down and around, meeting in the middle in a nice curved motion. I'll do it a couple times to make sure I meet in the middle nicely there, so it covers the whole little bottom section. And then from this top point here, I'm going to curve it around and down and meet in the middle like this. Again, kind of smooth it out if you need to. And then go ahead and fill this in. If you have a little ghost of a line like I do right here where you can still see the black, go ahead and just go over it with your brush. so it's all white. So now your panda should look something like this. If you need to go back in with your black color anywhere, you can just hold your finger on the screen to select the black color and go ahead and go over it if you need to. I might like go over my legs again, hold it down. Try to make like a little bit of a better shape there. Like this. So anything that you really want to do, kind of clean things up a little bit so that you have a nice fun panda laying on his floaty. Now I'm going to kind of move him a little bit. There's a little bit more room at the top of his head than at the bottom where his feet are. So I'm going to go to my layer menu, select all 4 panda layers that I have so far. So the head, the body, the 2 ear layers, slide right on them all to select them. Click the arrow tool and I'm just going to drag him up just a smidge, keeping him centered on that yellow line. Okay, next up is his face. So let's go ahead and add a new layer above his head layer. Click on it, turn on Drawing Assist so we can use the Symmetry. And we are first going to draw the cheeks and the nose. So let's grab the 3rd color on the last row, same monoline brush at 50%, and the first thing that we are going to draw is the nose. So right in the center of his face, about halfway down, I'm going to draw the right side of his nose like this, just kind of like a big oval shape. It's like flat at the top, goes down on the sides and out, so it's wider at the bottom, and then connects in the middle. Go ahead and take your time to smooth it out and get a nice shape that you like. I'm going to go with about like this. Click the arrow tool if you want to, and you can resize it or adjust it at all, and I'm just going to drag it up a little further on his face so it's about right smack dab in the middle with maybe a little bit more room at the top than on the bottom, but pretty close. Then I'm going to grab the 4th color on the last row, same brush, and we're going to draw the cheek. Draw a nice perfect circle, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfect. Click Edit Shape if you want to move it around or adjust the size at all. I'm going to keep it pretty smallish, just right over here, straight across from the bottom of his nose with a nice little amount of white showing on the side here, and then fill it in. Then we'll grab the 2nd color on the last row again and draw his nose. So this is just kind of like where his nose is, like his snout. So now we'll draw his actual nose. Let's drop the size of our brush to maybe 25%. And I'm just going to start in the middle towards the top and go out and then down to almost create a triangular shape. Nice and rounded at the corners and nice and smooth all the way around. Next, we are going to make his glasses, so we are going to grab the 5th color on the last row, drop our brush size even further now to about 15%, and we are just going to, in this upper right area here, make a perfect circle, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, then let it go and click Edit Shape so we can adjust it. We want the glasses to be just right here to the upright part of his nose, leaving a good amount of room on the head here. Almost even like touching his nose almost. And then starting on the top left part of this right circle, I'm going to draw a line over, connecting to the middle in a kind of curved motion. Hold it down. Make sure it's nice and curved. If it gave you a straight line, you can click Edit Shape and pick Arc if it gives you the option to, otherwise redo it. And then to finish the glasses off, we are going to go to our layer menu, add a new layer, drag it below all of our face layer that we've done so far. Click on it, turn on Drawing Assist, grab the 6th color on the last row, and draw a circle inside of our glasses. You don't even have to hold it down, just so we can fill it in to get a nice background color there for our glasses. Add a new layer above this one, below our other facial layer. Do not turn on Drawing Assist this time. Grab the 7th color on the last row, and same monoline brush, we are going to make a we're going to make some reflection on our glasses. So draw a straight line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it snap to an angle, whichever one you'd like. I'm going to go with this one here. And then leave a space, draw another line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen and make it snap to that same angle. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in just with my brush in between. And then I'm going to make another line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it snap to that same angle. And that will be our reflection. Go to the layer menu, make a duplicate of this layer. Click the arrow tool and drag it to our other little sunglass circle. Line it up nicely and then let it go. If you have any that stuck out, like here I have a little bit sticking out, go ahead and use your eraser to get rid of that on the edges. Okay, so now we have completed our panda bear. Okay, so now we're going to add a couple shadows for our panda bear and our floaty. So let's go to our floaty layer first, our yellow floaty layer here. Make a duplicate of it. On the bottom one, click on it, turn on alpha lock. Click on the N on this layer, drag it up to multiply. Find the third color on the top row of our color palette. Back to our layer menu, this bottom layer with alpha lock turned on, click on it and click fill layer. So now you should see a gray floaty layer there underneath our yellow one so we can't see it on our screen. Click on the layer again and turn off alpha lock. Click the wand icon, Gaussian Blur, drag this up to maybe 10%, and then click the arrow tool and drag it down and to the left so we have a nice shadow there, like so. Then we're going to do something different under our panda so we don't have to duplicate all these layers and do that again. We're just going to use a brush to create our shadow. So find our top floaty layer here, the yellow one, click to add a layer above that. So it should be above our floaty, right below all of our panda layers should be above it. Click on the N on this layer, drag it to multiply. Still have this same color selected, the third one on the top row. And for our brush, we are going to go under the airbrushing category and select the soft brush at the top. Set it to maybe 5%. And then I'm going to, again, like kind of on the bottom left here, create a shadow under my panda. So the left in the middle, so below my middle part here, to the left side of this right leg, and then all along the left side of my body here and my leg, underneath this arm, just a little bit right in the corner there, and then under the left side of the head, kind of following the shapes that I have laid out. So there's just a nice little shadow for my panda. Okay, and finally, the last step here, we are going to go to our layer menu. We're going to select all of our floaty and panda layers. So this is our pool layer. So our floaty shadow, our floaty, our panda shadow, and all of our panda layers. Click the arrow tool with this little green dial at the top. Turn it to the left. Change the size if you want. I might make mine just a smidge bigger. And I'm going to put him right there in the pool, a little off kilter now, to complete my picture. I'm going to go to my gear icon and just turn off the drawing guide here so that we can see it without that line. Boom, so that is it for our drawing today. I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching!